At my mom's birthday, I found my gift thrown into the trash. My sister sneered. It was an accident. I didn't make a scene and left. The next day she called and yelled, "Why is my engagement party canceled?" My answer shocked her. I pulled into my parents' driveway around 6 o'clock in the evening, carefully balancing the wrapped portrait in my arms. The thing was huge and awkward to carry, but I didn't care. I had spent almost 6 months working on it, and I knew Mom would love it. My name is Kelly, and I'm 30 years old. I work as an accountant at a mid-sized firm downtown. Nothing fancy, but it pays well enough. I've always lived a pretty normal life. I grew up here in this house with my parents and my younger sister Judith. Judith is 24 now, 6 years younger than me. We were close when we were kids, but things changed as we got older. Mom was turning 55, and Dad had organized this whole party for her. The house was already buzzing with people when I walked in. I could hear laughter and music coming from the living room. I headed straight to the hallway where they had set up a gift table. There were already a bunch of presents there, all wrapped in shiny paper with bows. I carefully placed my gift among them, making sure it was stable. The frame was heavy, a real baguette frame that cost me almost $300 alone. But it was worth it. I have taken art classes for over a year now. Drawing has always been my thing, ever since I was a kid. I used to sketch in notebooks during class. Drove my teachers crazy. But recently, I decided to get serious about it. I found this art studio that offered evening classes, and I'd been going twice a week. The portrait I painted for Mom was my biggest project yet. I used her wedding photo as the reference. I wanted to capture that moment for her, show her how gorgeous she was back then. I worked on every detail. The way her hair fell over her shoulders, the smile on her face, the light in her eyes. It took me forever, but when I finally finished it, I knew it was good. I walked into the living room and immediately got swept up in the party. There were probably 20 or 30 people there, mostly family and some of Mom and Dad's friends. Aunt Linda grabbed me for a hug. Uncle Joe asked about my job, the usual stuff. Mom was in the center of it all, wearing a blue dress and looking happy. She hugged me tight. Dad came over too, gave me a quick hug and a pat on the shoulder. He's always been the quiet type, letting Mom do most of the talking. Judith showed up about 10 minutes after me. She made this big entrance, loud and dramatic like always. She had on this tight red dress and heels that were way too high for a family party. Her fiancé Mark was with her, looking uncomfortable in a suit that was probably too expensive for the occasion. "Mom, happy birthday." Judith squealed and rushed over to hug her. Everyone turned to look. That's how Judith operates. She needs to be the center of attention. Always has. I watched as she handed Mom a small wrapped box. Probably jewelry or something. Judith never put much thought into gifts. She just bought whatever was expensive and called it a day. I had been at the party for maybe 30 minutes, talking to some cousins in the living room when I heard it. A loud crash from the hallway. It was the kind of sound that makes everyone stop talking and turn their heads. My stomach dropped. I pushed through the crowd and ran to the hallway. The gift table was still there, but my present wasn't on it anymore. My eyes went straight to the trash can next to the table. The wrapping paper was torn and sitting on top of the other gifts, but my portrait was in the trash. I rushed over and pulled it out. The frame was broken clean in half. The canvas was crumpled and torn on one side. All those months of work, all those hours spent getting every detail right, destroyed. I held it in my hands, trying to see if I could fix it somehow. Maybe I could reframe it. Maybe the tear wasn't too bad. But even as I thought it, I knew this wasn't an accident. You don't break a frame in half by accident. You don't crumple a canvas by accident. Someone did this on purpose. Oh wow, looks like there was an accident with your painting. I turned around and saw Judith standing there. She had this smirk on her face, not even trying to hide it. Her arms were crossed, and she looked almost amused. What? I stared at her. An accident? This frame is broken in half. The canvas is torn. How does that happen by accident? She shrugged. I don't know. Maybe you feel weird. Why are you yelling at me? Because you did this, you ruined my gift. Oh my God. Kelly, calm down. It's just a painting. You're being so dramatic right now. My hands were shaking. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She wasn't even denying it. She was standing there, grinning like this was all some kind of joke. Mom came over then, with Dad right behind her. What's going on here? Why is everyone shouting? Mom looked between me and Judith. Mom, look at this. I held up the broken frame and torn canvas. Look at what Judith did to my gift. Mom glanced at it quickly, then looked at Judith. What happened? Honey, it was an accident. Mom, I don't know why Kelly is freaking out like this. Kelly, calm down. Mom put her hand on my arm. Nothing terrible happened, it's just a painting. Don't criticize your sister. Like that I stared at her, just a painting. Mom, I spent 6 months working on this. I took our classes. I painted this for you. Dad stepped in. Kelly, it's really not that big of a deal. You can always paint another. One for your mother. You're making a scene in front of everyone. I looked at both of them. Then at Judith, who was still smirking. Mom didn't even glance at the portrait again. She just turned around and walked back to the living room, back to her guests. That's when it hit me. They didn't care. Not about the gift. Not about the work I put into it. Not about me. I wasn't welcome here. Not really. I grabbed the broken painting and the torn canvas and walked straight to the front door. Nobody tried to stop me. Nobody called my name. I drove home with the ruined portrait on the passenger seat next to me. When I got to my apartment, I sat on the couch and just stared at it for a while. Then I started crying. Judith had always been the golden child in our family. Always. Ever since we were kids. She could do whatever she wanted, and Mom and Dad would forgive her. She failed half her classes in high school because she was too busy partying, and they just hired tutors for her. She wrecked Dad's car when she was 17, and he bought her a new one a month later. When Judith went to college, I had just started my accounting job. Mom and Dad said they couldn't afford to pay for both of us, so I took out loans. I paid them off myself. It took me 5 years. But Judith, they paid every cent of her tuition. All 4 years at a private university. She majored in communications and barely graduated, but they didn't care. After college, Judith moved into an apartment downtown. She said she was looking for a job in marketing or something like that. 6 months went by, and she still hadn't found anything. So, guess who paid her rent? Me and Mom and Dad. We split it 3 ways. I paid $600 a month for 6 months, so my sister could live in a nice apartment while she figured out what she wanted to do with her life. She finally got a job at some startup. Nothing special, but at least she was working. And now, she was engaged to Mark, this guy who worked in finance and made decent money. They'd been dating for 2 years. I wiped my eyes and stood up. I was done crying. I was done being the person they took for granted. My phone buzzed. It was a reminder from some restaurant app. I opened it and read the message. Reminder, final payment for venue rental due in 3 days. Current balance, $1,500. The engagement party. I had completely forgotten about it. 2 weeks ago, Judith had called me in a panic. She said she found this perfect restaurant for her engagement party, but it was expensive and she didn't have enough money. So, she asked me if I could help. Like an idiot, I said yes. I put down $3,000 total. $1,500 had already been charged to my card, and the other $1,500 was due in a few days. I stared at that reminder for a long time. Then, I opened the restaurant's website and found their customer service number. A woman answered on the third ring. Giovanni's Restaurant. This is Amanda speaking. How can I help you? Hi, I need to cancel a reservation. It's for an engagement party. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Can I have the name on the reservation? Judith Brennan. The party is in 2 weeks. I heard typing on the other end. Yes, I see it here. Let me process the cancellation for you. Just so you know, there is a $500 administrative fee for cancellations. You paid $1,500 so far, so we'll refund you $1,000. It should be back in your account within 2 to 3 business days. Thank you. I hung up and sat back down on the couch. I felt lighter somehow, like I just put down something heavy I'd been carrying for years. The next day, I was at work when my phone started ringing. It was Judith. I let it go to voicemail. She called again and again. On the 4th call, I answered. What? Kelly, what the heck did you do? The restaurant called me. They said you canceled my engagement party. Are you out of your mind? Do you know how hard it was to find a place? Everything is booked on that date. There are no other restaurants available. Not my problem. Judith, not your problem. Kelly, you're being so greedy and vindictive right now. This is my engagement party. You need to call them back and give it back to me. I need that restaurant. Then maybe you shouldn't have destroyed my painting. She started crying. Actual crying with sobs and everything. Kelly, please, I'm sorry about the painting. Okay? I'm sorry, but you can't do this to me. Please. The engagement is in 2 weeks, and I have nowhere to have the party now. I told you. It's not my problem anymore. And by the way, I'm not helping with the wedding either. Figure it out yourself. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. My hands were shaking, but I felt good. About an hour later, my desk phone rang. It was Mom, Kelly Marie Brennan. What on earth is wrong with you? Judith just called me crying her eyes out. She said you canceled her engagement party. Why would you do something so cruel? She's your sister. She destroyed my painting. Mom, the one I spent 6 months working on for you, and you didn't even care. That was an accident, Kelly. Stop being so dramatic about it. It wasn't an accident. The frame was broken in half. The canvas was torn. And you know what the worst part was? You didn't even look at it. You didn't care at all. Oh, for God's sake. It was just a painting. Kelly, an amateur drawing. There was no real value in it. Those words hit me like a punch. Just a painting. No real value. You know what, Mom? I finally got it. You only care about me when I'm giving you money. That's all I am to the family. A wallet, that's not true. And you know it. Now call that restaurant back in. I hung up on her. My desk phone rang again immediately, but I didn't answer. My cell phone started buzzing too. Even though I blocked Judith, it was Dad this time. I declined the call. For the rest of the day, my phone wouldn't stop. Calls, texts, voicemails, all from my family, all saying the same things. I was being selfish. I was being cruel. I was ruining Judith's special day. I ignored every single one. That evening, I was making dinner when I checked Instagram. Judith had posted a video. I clicked on it. She was sitting on her couch, crying into the camera. I don't usually post things like this, but I need to be honest with everyone. My sister is trying to ruin my engagement out of jealousy. She canceled my party venue 2 weeks before the date because she's bitter about her own life. I don't know what I did to deserve this. The comments were already pouring in. Oh my God, that's so terrible. Your sister sounds toxic. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I scrolled through them. All these people feel sorry for Judith. Not one of her rich friends offered to host the party at their place. Not one person saying they'd help her find a new venue. Just sympathy and likes. I got texts from relatives, my aunt, my uncle, even my cousin Emma, who I hadn't talked to in months. All of them telling me I should be ashamed of myself. Then Mom sent me one final text. If you don't give Judith back that restaurant reservation, don't bother coming to the wedding. You won't be invited. I read it twice, then put my phone down. After what happened at that birthday party, I didn't want to go to the wedding anyway. 2 weeks went by. I didn't hear from my family at all during that time. No calls, no texts, nothing. The silence was actually nice. I focused on work and my art classes. I even started working on restoring Mom's portrait in the evenings. The frame was beyond saving, but the canvas itself could be fixed. I carefully flattened out the wrinkles and repaired the tear with some techniques my art instructor showed me. It took time, but slowly the portrait started looking good again. On a Saturday afternoon, I was scrolling through social media when I saw it. Judith had posted photos from her engagement party. There were only 2 pictures. That was weird because Judith usually posted like 100 photos whenever anything happened in her life. In the photos, she and Mark were standing in my parents' backyard. There were some balloons and a table with food, maybe 20 people total. It looked pretty basic. The caption read, "Due to circumstances beyond our control, we had to have a more intimate celebration at home. Sometimes the best parties are the simple ones surrounded by family." I actually laughed out loud. Circumstances beyond her control. The circumstance was that I didn't give her the money for it. She was trying to make it sound like it was her choice to have a small party at home, but I knew better. She wanted that fancy restaurant. She wanted the big event, and she didn't get it. Another week passed. I had just gotten home from work on a Tuesday when someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Mom standing there. I thought about not answering, but I opened the door anyway. "We need to talk, Kelly." "Okay." I stepped aside and let her in. She walked into my living room and turned to face me. Her arms were crossed, and she looked angry. "You've gone too far. Your father and I have decided that if you don't come to your senses, we're going to disown you. Do you understand what that means?" "I understand." "Good. So you'll apologize to Judith," and she stopped talking. Her eyes had landed on something behind me. I turned and saw what she was looking at. The portrait. I had finished restoring it a few days ago and hung it on my wall. Mom walked over to it slowly. She stood there for a long time, just staring. I didn't say anything. I just waited. Then she started crying. Not the dramatic crying Judith does, but quiet tears running down her face. "Kelly, this is gorgeous. I had no idea. I didn't know you could paint something this beautiful. Is this for my wedding photo?" "Yes." Mom walked over to me and hugged me. I stood there stiffly, not hugging her back. "I'm so sorry, Kelly. I didn't expect this. I didn't realize how much work you put into it. Your father and I have been so unfair to you. We've always treated you and Judith differently, and that wasn't right." "No, it wasn't." She pulled back and looked at me. "I want to fix this. We'll start family therapy. Both of us. We need to figure out why we've been treating you this way and how to change it." I didn't know what to say to that. I just nodded. After she left, I sat down on my couch and stared at the portrait. I didn't know if I believed her. People say sorry all the time. It doesn't always mean anything changes. 2 weeks later, Dad called me. He said that he and Mom had been going to therapy twice a week. He said they were learning a lot about themselves and their parenting. He asked if I wanted to join them for a session sometime. I told him I'd think about it. "Judith won't come," he said. "We asked her, but she's still mad about the engagement party. She says she won't talk to a therapist. That sounds like Judith." "Yeah," he sighed. "Kelly, I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. I don't think I've ever told you that enough. That actually caught me off guard." "Thanks, Dad." A month went by. Mom and Dad were still going to therapy. I had dinner with them once, just the 3 of us. It was awkward, but it was okay. We talked about normal things, avoiding mentioning Judith. Then one day, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello, Kelly. It's Judith. I don't want to talk to you. Just listen for 1 second. Mom and Dad are ruining my life. Ever since they started going to that stupid therapy, they've completely changed. They said they're not paying for my wedding anymore. They promised they would pay for it. And now they're backing out. Good for them. Good for them. Kelly, they're doing this because of you. You turned them against me. I didn't do anything. They finally realized that both their daughters should be treated equally. You're not the golden child anymore, Judith. Deal with it." I hung up. A couple of days later, I heard from Dad that Judith and my parents had a huge fight. She demanded money for the wedding, and they refused. They told her that she and Mark needed to pay for their own wedding like adults. Apparently, Judith didn't take that well. She stormed out of their house and hadn't talked to them since. Then she had a fight with Mark, too. She wanted him to pay for the entire wedding himself, since my parents wouldn't help. He told her he never wanted an expensive wedding in the first place. He said they could just have a small ceremony with close family and friends. About a week after that, Mark actually called me. "Hey Kelly, I hope it's okay that I'm calling." "It's fine. What's going on?" "Judith and I are taking a break. I still love her. I really do. But she cares more about money than anything else right now, and I can't deal with it anymore." "I'm sorry to hear that. I just wanted you to know that I get why you did what you did with the engagement party. I think you were right. Thanks, Mark. I hope you two can work things out." "Me too. We'll see." After that call, I actually felt bad for him. He seemed like a decent guy. He just got stuck with Judith. Over the next few months, things got better with my parents. I started visiting them more often, usually on weekends. We'd have lunch or dinner and talk about normal stuff. They were different now. They actually listened when I talked. They asked about my art classes and seemed genuinely interested. I made sure to only visit when Judith wasn't there. Mom would text me beforehand to let me know if Judith was planning to stop by. I appreciated that. I wasn't ready to see my sister yet. Dad told me that therapy was helping them understand a lot of things they'd done wrong over the years. He said they never realized how much they favored Judith until the therapist pointed it out. Mom said she felt terrible about it and wanted to make it right. I didn't go to any therapy sessions with them. Maybe I would eventually, but I wasn't ready for that either. For now, having a better relationship with them one-on-one was enough. One day, Mom called me with news. "Kelly, I thought you should know. Judith and Mark moved to another state. They left last week for Colorado. Mark got a job offer there. He told Judith she had to choose between him and her obsession with money. She chose him. Well, I didn't see that coming. Neither did we. They got married in Las Vegas on their way to Colorado. Just the two of them. No family, no big ceremony." She posted a photo on Instagram. After we hung up, I went to Judith's Instagram. Sure enough, there was a photo of her and Mark standing in front of some chapel in Vegas. They both looked happy. The caption said, "Spontaneous Vegas wedding. One of the best adventures of my life." I stared at that photo for a while. Part of me was still angry at her, but another part of me wondered if maybe she was actually growing up. A few days ago, I went to visit my parents for Sunday dinner. We were sitting in the living room after we ate, and Mom brought up Judith. She's been calling us more often lately. She and Mark are doing well. They're both working and renting a house. She hasn't asked us for money once. "That's good," I said. "She asked about you." Mom said carefully, "She wanted to know how you were doing. She said she wants to make peace with you." I took a sip of my coffee. I'm not ready for that yet. I want to see if she's really changed, if this is permanent or just temporary. Maybe later we can try to fix things between us, but not now. "That's fair," Mom said. "We won't push you." After I left their house that evening, I sat in my car for a few minutes. I thought about Judith and Mark in Colorado, starting over. I thought about how she chose him over money. Maybe she really was different now. When I got home, I pulled out my art supplies. I found Judith's wedding photo on Instagram and saved it to my phone. Then I started sketching. It took me 3 weeks to finish the portrait. I painted Judith and Mark standing together, the way they looked in that Vegas chapel. I tried to capture the happiness on their faces, the way they were looking at each other. It wasn't as detailed as Mom's portrait, but it was still good work. I got Judith's new address from Mom. Then I carefully packaged the painting and shipped it to Colorado. I didn't include a note or a card. I just sent it. A week later, I was at work when I got a notification on my phone. Judith had posted something new on Instagram. It was a photo of her standing in what looked like her living room. Behind her on the wall was the portrait I had painted. She was smiling at the camera. The caption read, "Just received the most incredible wedding gift from my sister. This is the best present anyone has ever given me. Thank you, Kelly." I've read it 3 times. Then I put my phone down and got back to work. That evening, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was Judith. "Kelly, I don't even know what to say. The portrait is beautiful." I cried when I opened it. "I'm so sorry for everything I did. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope someday we can talk. I miss you. Love, Judith." I read the text several times. I didn't respond. I wasn't ready to talk to her yet, but I saved her number in my phone. Maybe in a few months, I'd reach out. Maybe we could meet for coffee or something. Maybe we could try to rebuild what we'd lost. But that was for later. For now, I have art classes twice a week. I had my parents back in my life in a real way. I had my apartment with Mom's portrait hanging on the wall, reminding me that my work had value. I had spent so many years being the responsible one, the one who gave and never received anything back. I had let my family take advantage of me because I thought that's what family did. But I was done with that. I wasn't going to be anyone's wallet anymore. I wasn't going to let people treat me like I didn't matter. And if Judith wanted to be part of my life again, she was going to have to prove she'd changed. Really changed. I looked at her text one more time, then set my phone aside. I pulled out my sketchbook and started working on a new piece. This one was for me. Just for me.